Before this video starts, if you enjoyed this video, there are many more like it already on the channel, with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I am trying to hit 125,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 to 7 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also, drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second. It makes a massive difference. Also, there's a new episode of the Rusty and Mojo show out right now. I'm not going to show a clip because this video is long enough as it is, but it should be out now. If it's not, it's going to be soon, but it's a good episode. Go give that a watch when you're done with this video. So I have been pretty public and blatant about my distaste for traditional NBA media and its members. The likes of Stephen A. Smith, Nick Wright, Colin Cowherd, Kendrick Perkins, the list goes on. I do not like any of those people that I just mentioned. In fact, I can't stand most of them. But the thing is, I get it. At the end of the day, I understand it. I get why these guys have the jobs that they do, and I am very much in the pro-secure the bag camp, so even though I don't respect the profession, I understand. And as a result, I do not hate anyone that I just mentioned. In fact, I am very careful about who I say that I hate, because to me that is a very strong word. It's why I cannot stand when people accuse me of hating Russell Westbrook or LeBron James just because I'm critical of them as basketball players. Don't hate those guys, not even close. However, somebody that I hate, and I mean hate, is Jason bitch-ass Whitlock. See, while I don't have any respect for what the likes of Nick Wright and Colin Cowherd do, I don't think they are bad people by any stretch, and I don't think what they do is damaging to the game of basketball or just society in general. Jason Whitlock, on the other hand, is a bad person, and what he does is dangerous to basketball and society in general. You won't see me accusing folks of being bad people around here, at least not all that often. I try to keep things generally lighthearted, or at the very least not antagonistic on this channel. However, I am so tired of this guy's bullshit, so I'm going to talk about why Jason Whitlock sucks ass. Roll the intro. Alright, so just a heads up, the reason why I hate Jason Whitlock is not because he has dumb basketball takes. All the other analysts have bad basketball takes, including myself. The reason I hate Jason Whitlock is because of the shit that he says in regards to the players' lives, as well as what he says about social justice in sports. He also just says some offhand horrible shit all the time with no real narrative behind it. So if you have a problem with, let's say, black people not being innocently shot in the street by cops, or women being treated as equals in the workplace, or if you're just a general piece of shit, then you're probably not going to like what I have to say, because pieces of shit are Jason Whitlock's target demographic. The reason I finally decided to make this video is the most recent clownery on the part of Jason Whitlock. For no reason other than him being a piece of shit, Whitlock released an article attacking Katie Nolan and Maria Taylor, both very prominent women in sports media. Now, I am not someone who consumes sports media generally, which I understand is ironic because I could kind of be considered in that category. However, what I have learned from a good amount of research is that both Katie Nolan and Maria Taylor are very good at their jobs, very talented and good people, who do not deserve to be attacked completely out of the blue. And as for why they were, it's pretty much just because they were women. Jason released this hateful article a couple of days ago saying that Nolan and Taylor only got their jobs because they were attractive. When Taylor played college basketball and gradually moved up the ladder of sports media through hard work, for Nolan, Whitlock said that she went from a bartender to a 7-figure sports show host because she's attractive, when she got her start by making a fucking blog. That's how she got there, not because she's attractive. She worked to get to where she is today. And after this bullshit article came out, many women in sports came out and told their stories about Katie Nolan and how she supported them. This one tweet in particular from another woman in the field saying Katie let her shadow her when she had no reason outside of her own kindness and desire to help women in sports. But even then, Nolan and Maria do not have to be saints in order for them to not deserve this attack. Jason attacking these women because of beauty privilege is the same crock of shit that women in sports media and media in general get all the fucking time. Look, Jason, I get it. I'm not a particularly good-looking dude either. I mean, I don't look like Bubble Bass from SpongeBob, but I'm no Chris Evans either. So I do understand that, yeah, there are a couple of privileges that come from being more attractive, as I do not get those privileges. However, that is well balanced out by the fact that looks are a huge factor in how women in sports succeed, regardless of if they are attractive or not. Whether or not Nolan or Taylor are attractive or not has fuck all to do with the hard work that they've done to get into the positions that they have. And overall, looks being a factor is not a good thing for women in sports because it can hold them back just as much as it props them up. The fact that whether or not a woman is attractive or not is one of the first things that's talked about with female sports personalities is a huge problem, and it's sure as fuck not a positive for Nolan or Maria or anyone in that area. It's not a positive for women in sports media that you deem not attractive. Do you think whatever the god-awful female version of Jason Whitlock is would have any level of success like you have, Jason? Because I don't think she'd be allowed on TV, because if you're not attractive, you're not allowed on TV if you're a woman. That's literally a running joke with women in media. Even Family Guy made a joke about that, and they're fucking Family Guy. It's the most surface level shit ever, so you get it. If there was a female version of Jason Whitlock, she would not be allowed on TV because she's not a supermodel, so her opinion just doesn't matter. That's how that works in that field. And that's disgusting, and it's sure as fuck not a positive. Do you want to attack Shannon Sharpe, Jason, and say that he is illegitimate because he has some nice biceps? No, you don't, because you don't think of that when it's not a woman. Because he's a man, he's already perfectly valid to you and doesn't have to pass some sort of test in order to get your approval, because you're a sexist piece of shit, Jason Whitlock. Katie had to protect her Twitter account because of all the hate that came her way because of this bullshit. So if you think Jason is harmless, he definitely is not, because his clowns of supporters went and harassed her. So after all of that, I'm going to issue my first fuck you, Jason Whitlock. And for the few, hopefully few, bitch-ass people that are going to reply, I hope she sees this, or simp. A, grow the fuck up. B, I don't simp for anybody except for Jeremy Grant, and also maybe Zendaya. Honestly, I'm only saying maybe because I'm playing hard to get. Also, you know it's possible to support women in anything without trying to sleep with them, right? It's just called being a decent person. I don't know if that's a high bar for some of you guys, but I don't know. So what garbage do we have next? Well, roll the clip.
This is all pretty much standard operating procedure for LeBron at his son's games. I'm sure someone has convinced LeBron that the subsequent viral videos are a good thing. In his mind, LeBron is making fatherhood cool and fun again. I disagree. LeBron is making a spectacle of himself, a circus of his son's early playing days, and using his son's game as yet another platform to build the LeBron social media brand. It's inappropriate. It points to how much fame has inevitably changed LeBron over the past decade.
Okay, so if you have been around for a while, which most of you haven't been around for this long, I released a video a while ago titled A Reminder That NBA Players Are Human, on both Jeremy Lin crying about no longer having an NBA career as well as this. And basically all I had to say at the time about this was, do you really think that LeBron motherfucking James is trying to get internet clout? Do you think he's dunking at his son's high school games to get social media brand attention? He's LeBron James, dude. He's like one of the 10 most famous people on the planet. There's a short list of people who are more famous than LeBron James. The guy doesn't need to dunk at his son's high school game in order to get attention from the media. LeBron gets more just attention in general in one day than 99.9% of people will get in their entire fucking lives. This assertion that LeBron was doing this for attention is not only stupid, but also incredibly hypocritical, coming from the biggest fucking attention whore that exists in the media, Jason Whitlock. So that was dumb, and after that take, I'm going to give my second fuck you, Jason Whitlock. But this is not the first time that he has had some stupid bullshit to say about LeBron James. In fact, he has made a career on the latter end of attacking LeBron. The guy actually said that LeBron is a bigot. LeBron. See, Whitlock is what some would call a bootlicker. Not me. Actually, yes, me. I would definitely call him that. I don't know why I said that. He's definitely a bootlicker. Now, this is gonna dip into a little bit more serious of a conversation, so just be forewarned. And it's not a conversation I'm particularly comfortable having, but it is relevant in regards to Jason Whitlock. I do not know what it is like to be black in America, obviously. I am whiter than fucking Casper. However, I try to sympathize and understand the best I can what black people go through in America, which is something that I can never personally experience. And generally speaking, I look to the consensus on said topics to get the general opinion. And that general opinion is black people are terrified of cops in America because of police brutality. Because what happened to Jacob Blake, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, Eric Garner, and Michael Brown, it's happened to many others and is probably going to continue to happen until something is eventually done. That's where that fear comes from. It's a fear that I have the privilege to not have to deal with at any point in my life and will never have to deal with. LeBron, about a month ago, expressed this same fear after Jacob Blake was shot in the back 8 times.
Quite frankly, it's just fucked up in our community. And I know people get tired of hearing me say it, but we are scared as black people in America. Black men, black women, black kids, we are terrified.
Powerful, at least to me, but apparently not to Jason Whitlock. He said, "I'm black, I'm not scared, I'm not terrified, neither is LeBron James, he's lying." Now, first of all, you do not get to decide what someone else's thoughts and feelings are. That's between them and how they express them. You can't say someone is lying about how they're feeling unless you have them hooked up to a lie detector test. LeBron saying he is terrified in America because he's black is not some objective statement that can be false or true. That's what he feels. That's not how that works. You cannot just say he is lying. Whether or not LeBron is telling the truth about how he feels is between he and himself. You can disagree and say you don't have that same feeling as you did, however, you cannot say that he is lying. That's just simply not how that works. And as for why Whitlock believes that LeBron James is lying about feeling fear because of his race, well, apparently he thinks LeBron can't feel racism if he's rich.
Racism is an issue in America, but it is primarily an issue for the poor. It's not LeBron James's issue. LeBron James, whether he likes it or not, or whether people close to him are telling him or not, he has removed himself from the damages and the ravages of real racism.
Oh my God, you fucking idiot. I mean, LeBron did have the N-word written on the gate of his house a few years ago, but I guess that word means something different if you have 3 commas in your bank account. But back to the first part of his statement, I'm black and I am not scared. That's your own experience, and I'm not gonna say that you're lying as you did LeBron James because that's your experience, and I actually don't think he is lying. Granted, Jason Whitlock is also rich, so it seems a little bit fucking hypocritical, but that's besides the point. I'm not gonna accuse him of lying, especially because I cannot speak from experience. But you cannot invalidate someone else's experience because of your own experience. They are not the same. Just because you feel differently does not mean LeBron is not valid to feel the way he does. Once again, that's not how that works. Whitlock goes on to say that he and the political activists controlling him being LeBron, want black people to immerse themselves in fear, and fear is a tool used to control people. There are a few problems with that. First of all, there are a lot of things you can accuse LeBron James of being, but not being himself is not one of those things. If you think there are politicians behind LeBron James and he's just a facade, you're a fucking idiot. Just straight up. Second of all, LeBron James's comments is not what has black people in America scared. It's police brutality and the system that allows that to pass. It's not like LeBron single-handedly made black Americans scared. Once again, it's fucking stupid. He essentially, in this article, accuses LeBron James of fear-mongering, and that fear-mongering is a tool used to control people. And the last half of that statement is correct. However, there is a difference between fear-mongering and expressing a legitimate fear. For example, look no further than the dumbass comparison that Whitlock made in this article. The reason he thinks LeBron is a bigot is because he is using fear-mongering in the same way that the Klan does. which Hall of Fame stretch, which is funny because Kobe saying that, he was saying that in relation to something Jason Whitlock said. But those two things are interchangeable. They're not the same thing. He tries to correlate the statement of, and y'all wonder why we say what we say about police, with the same phrase with police substituted with black people. Okay, so A, black people are a race. Cop is a profession. They're not the same thing. White people are not all cops. I am not a cop. B, it is not fear-mongering if the fear is legitimate. The Klan was wrong, and still is wrong because they somehow still fucking exist, for saying that black people are evil. I know, hot take, trying not to be controversial over here. LeBron saying that black people in America are scared of the police was not wrong. He is right, as the massive protests across not only the country but the fucking planet made very clear. Whitlock later goes on to say that essentially Blake deserved what he got because he was likely a sexual predator and he resisted arrest. I got this same bullshit argument when I made my video on NBA players protesting, and I expressed my support of their protests based on what happened to Jacob Blake. The thing is, regardless of whether or not Blake did what Whitlock and many others accuse him of doing, is not even slightly correlated to whether or not what happened to him is justifiable. Black people do not have to be good or even decent or even just not evil to be treated as equals and not be gunned down in the street. That's not how the justice system works, or at least it's not how it's supposed to work, because it doesn't seem like that's how it works based on what happened with Breonna Taylor. The people on the side of the Black Lives Matter movement, both black people and their allies, did not choose Jacob Blake as a martyr. The cop that shot him in the back 8 times did. Same goes for Breonna Taylor, same goes for George Floyd, same goes for Philando Castile, same goes for Tamir Rice, same goes for all of them. It wasn't their choice. It was the police. But what is ironic about Whitlock calling LeBron a bigot is, if anything, Whitlock is a whole lot closer to being a bigot than LeBron is. He said after a Linsanity game back in 2012 that some lucky lady in NYC is going to get a couple inches of pain. Now, first of all, gross. Second of all, while I don't believe this comment makes Whitlock a bigot, there is no comment like that exists with LeBron James, so please shut the fuck up, Jason Whitlock, because you're a lot closer to a bigot than LeBron James is. He expressed a legitimate fear, and you're an idiot. There is the third. Fuck you, Jason Whitlock. But back to Jacob Blake, Jason Whitlock is not done spewing bullshit about him and the NBA. Back when the protest happened, the Milwaukee Bucks were the first team to sit out a game. So when they later, over a week later, lost in an upset to the Miami Heat, Jason Whitlock said the reason why is because they were too focused on Jacob Blake. No, I am not kidding.
But the Milwaukee Bucks are down 0-2 after being the best team in the NBA during the regular season, the clear #1 seed. And if not for the officiating, everybody would be talking about, are the Bucks distracted? Do they have a Black Lives Matter hangover from canceling NBA playoff games and basically canceling sports?
Yes, it wasn't Bam Adebayo's great matchup on Giannis. It wasn't Jimmy Butler and Goran Dragic going off. It wasn't a great scheme by Eric Spoelstra that exploited them on both ends and exposed the fact that they don't make any adjustments and Mike Budenholzer refused to make adjustments. No, it was because they were too focused on Jacob Blake. It was the fact that they protested after Jacob Blake was unjustly shot. Not all those other factors. Because, of course, no other team in the league feels strongly about Black Lives Matter. No other team felt strongly about Jacob Blake. No other team cares about this movement whatsoever. No other team protested. It was just the Milwaukee Bucks. Because, apparently, every other team in the league is made up of a bunch of white cops. Except, that's not true. The protests, Jacob Blake, the weight of that moment, all had the same bearing on the shoulders of every other player that was in the bubble. Also, if the rest of the league was made up of white cops, the Bucks would not have lost. But on top of doing something that Whitlock is one to accuse the NBA of doing, which is making everything about politics and Black Lives Matter, he's also just being dumb. Regardless of how you feel about the protests, it is stupid as fuck to suggest that the Bucks lost for this reason. Just fucking stupid. And really, I am just cracking the surface of the stupid bullshit bullshit that comes out of Whitlock's mouth. However, all of that is just a symptom of Whitlock and who he serves. Jason stands in the face of Black Lives Matter and things like it in the past to pander to a certain crowd. The I'm no longer watching the NBA because it's too political crowd. The I'm burning my Nikes because Colin Kaepernick is a brand figurehead crowd. You might have watched all of this and thought, how does this guy have a career? How does he make millions of dollars being a fucking douchebag? Well, look at the comments under his video about the Bucks. They fucking love this guy. To them, he is the messiah, the one guy in sports media standing up to the establishment. Same thing goes for his attacks against women, specifically Katie Nolan and Maria Taylor. He is pandering to those dipshits who do nothing with female sports personalities except complain about them or rank them based on their looks. He is pandering to the people that hate women in sports and would love nothing more than to see his fat ass tear them down. Jason is essentially the one black friend of every racist and misogynistic sports fan out there. He's that guy for them. And Jason has rid this way for his entire career at the cost of being hated by a majority of people who know about him. Now, that did come at somewhat of a cost. Luckily, after controversy, Whitlock was no longer able to continue his employment at Fox Sports. So as the world anxiously waited to see where the great Jason Whitlock would work next, we got the answer. Outkick, which from what I can tell is essentially the Breitbart of sports media, and that's not a compliment to say the least. Which makes sense, because Whitlock his entire career has pandered to the type of people that would enjoy this type of content, so he's basically just going home. And you know what, for what it's worth, Whitlock has made quite a bit of coin off of this career path. He has a net worth of $10 million, so he's doing pretty well by himself. But was it worth it? Whitlock has been the mouthpiece for a whole lot of piece of shit arguments, hence his target audience. He is supposed to say disagreeable things, and he gets attention and money as a result of it. And that is nothing new in sports media. However, he takes it a step further, a step beyond saying that James Harden is better than Stephen Curry or Ben Simmons is a top 10 player. He instead targets innocent people and shits on the idea of social justice, all while counting every dollar he gets. But you know what? There's not enough money in the world that you could pay me to be Jason Whitlock. Maybe he's okay cashing these paychecks being the world's biggest douchebag, but at the end of the day, his legacy is going to be, remember that fat asshole that used to work at Fox Sports. And you couldn't pay me to be that. Anyways, with this more serious video out of the way, tomorrow we're going to be talking about James Harden and whether or not he should demand a trade and what a James Harden trade might look like if he did, something a little bit more lighthearted. So I'd like to say one more fuck you, Jason Whitlock, and that is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.
And like I said, and going back to Whitlock, I don't think he can comment on anything but snacks.